Good morning, everyone. I'm Dexter Gravel, and welcome back to my continued first-time playthrough of Final Fantasy XIV. Although what you're actually seeing right now is not the full archived live stream. Turns out, sometime before this particular stream, Streamlabs decided to have an update, and in doing so, it disabled all of my audio settings. No game audio, no desktop audio, no mic audio. None of it was recorded. Didn't realize anything was wrong until hours later when I went back to check the footage. 3 hours of content, gone, reduced to atoms. But I've been thinking about this for a few days since then. I didn't want this to go to waste. At least I have footage, there's just no sound. So, I'm making this a half episode, and adding a bit of commentary to at least give a synopsis of what happened then, so you're not going into the next part suddenly further into the story with no context on how you even got there. So, buckle up, there's a lot to cover. So Ul'dah won't give aid to the Doman refugees. Limsa, Lominsa, and Gridania most likely can't help either. So Alphino suggests bringing them to Mordona, since they're still in need of workers and could give lodgings and food as payment. But there are a few snags. There's a lot of refugees, most of which are sick due to the voyage, and the Syndicate won't pay for their transportation costs. Thankfully, Teleji steps in, offering to pitch in for the use of caravans. Good on him. Also, I forgot about the Mog coffer I obtained from the fight against King Muggle and used that to obtain a malignant Mog axe. Neat. With the decision to move being so sudden, not all of the Domans in Vesper Bay are ready to leave. One of the children, Yozan, says that there are 3 children still playing hide and seek, and they're serious about not being found, so we need to find them before they can depart. The first one, Koharu, was found immediately. The second one was relatively easy to locate, but the third one stumped me for a while. I was looking all over in places that might not be obvious and even tried a bird's eye view. I noticed the searchable area went outside the main gate, so I tried there as well. No dice. But the moment I walked back in, I noticed a nameplate hiding just behind the caravan next to me and realized that's where the third child was hiding. With the Domans now ready to set off, we agree to accompany them on the trip as a favor, but the road is blocked by a void scent. I noted how the only times we've ever really encountered void scent in a story capacity were during the Thaumaturge quests and our run-ins with the Ascians, so I wondered what the heck would the Ascians even want with the Domans? Once the way's cleared, I'm suddenly beset by questions by Yozan and Koharu about being an adventurer. If it even relates to anything, the answers I chose were to go whither the wild rose blooms, Revenant's Toll is a bustling outpost, and seeking out new experiences and adventures. And I recall that when Yozan asked me if he could be an adventurer too, I jokingly replied, absolutely not. Then the kids decide they want to form their own adventurers guild. I don't know if we're actually going to see that though or not. Maybe, maybe not. From there, we lead Yugiri to the leaders of Revenant's Toll so she can meet with its leaders and finalize the move. At this point, Y'shtola returns from her scouting mission, informing us that the Serpent Reavers, those pirates I fought way back at the start of my journey, were the ones responsible for the crystal thefts that were happening in Horizon, leading us to the conclusion that the Sahagins were looking to summon their primal Leviathan. Specifically, because a Sahagan priest was told that he would gain immortality by doing so. I get another stomachache, which shows Y'shtola's discovery, but this time Minfilia gets the vision as well, and she insists on getting involved to learn more about this power. Yugiri, looking to repay the kindness we've been showing her, also wishes to lend her assistance in this matter. Along the way, I obtained some Spirit Bond potions, which will definitely make grinding much easier later on. After seeking guidance and intel from Admiral Merlvib and aid from the Maelstrom Navy, it's decided that we'll break off into smaller groups to thin out the Sahagan forces. Thancred and Yugiri in particular get to be pretty badass for a few minutes, with Yugiri taking special note of Thancred's skills when he gets serious, and they're very similar to her own. Unfortunately, we're just barely too late, and the Sahagan priest is successful in gaining his immortality and summoning Leviathan. But Leviathan simply destroys the priest's soul by consuming his ether and then just leaves. Turns out, Leviathan's plan is to head out all the way out to sea so they can unleash a tidal wave to destroy Lenosha. Back at Merlvib's command room, ideas keep getting kicked around on how we're going to deal with this. We would need to fight him out in open waters, but Leviathan's power over water ether is so strong, the Maelstrom ships can't get close, and cannon fire is ineffective against its defenses. That's when Einzar suggests using a device powered by corrupted crystals to weaken him, just like what Sid used in our encounter against Garuda. But against Leviathan, that would require a lot more crystals, too much for just one vessel, to which Einzar suggests lashing 2 ships together, just like Mistbeard, a pirate of legend, once did in order to carry all of his loot. The twin vessel idea is given the okay, and now we just need to wait for it to be finished. But then word reaches us that there's a man who claims to have defeated Leviathan before, so we decide to look into it in the hopes that we could get more insight for the upcoming fight. Turns out it was just Trogtum again, boasting about false deeds just to get a poor soldier to do his job for him. He quickly changes his tune when we show up. Thankfully, this diversion gave the workers of Morabi Bay just enough time to complete their project, which they have dubbed the Whirl Eater. It's even been outfitted with a gigantic platform to make for a much more suitable battleground, since I doubt the deck of a regular ship would be enough. With all the preparations complete, we make our way out into open waters. I state, he might simply be hungry after, just waking up and maybe shouldn't hurt us. And the battle against Leviathan ensues. After reviewing this footage, I realize I'm the only new player in this encounter. Our Dark Knight goes first, so I keep my tank states off and rush in. After the first combo, which I immediately note should have ended with Storm's Eye, not Storm's Path, Leviathan disappears. So I'm like, where's it gonna pop up? Look around, see a geyser. Okay, probably stay away from that, right? Leviathan shows up. Oh, shit. Woo! There we go. Okay, stay away from geysers going forward. As the fight continues, I see the Sahagin start to show up and attack the nearest one. And then I notice, oh, the tail is here. Maybe I should take care of that after taking care of this Sahagin over here. So I can actually take care of the tail while our Dark Knight takes care of the head. Not realizing that the Dark Knight had the same idea. Whoops. So now neither of us have the head. A bit into the fight, Gyre Spumes show up and I think, okay, I'll let the other players do with those. I'll stick with the tail. And then lights shoot out from the center to them. I'm like, oh, I probably should deal with those. Drop focus on the tail to take care of them. Then go back to the tail. Then get hit by multiple splash attacks and think, oh, I should deal with all those, only for them to all be destroyed by the time I try. Tail's back, so I'm like, okay, let's go take this thing down. What? Wait, where'd it go? Oh, wait, now he's gone too? Oh, now what? Oh, that's a big attack. That's probably going to hurt. And dead. I was surprised by this and wondered if that was meant to happen. Then it's at this point that I start reading chat. Oh, bruh, it didn't work. I'm like, were we supposed to do something else there? Apparently, someone needed to stand in a certain spot for long enough to activate the converter, but happened to walk away thinking it went off when they might have left a second too early. Then it's mentioned that I should probably have my tank stance up, and I realized, oh, I didn't have it for the head, but I should have had it for the tail. So I activated to let them know, yeah, I forgot. Sorry. The Dark Knight with its DPS will keep the aggro. I'm like, yeah, you can go after the head, and I'll go back after the tail. And we're off to the races once again. Make sure tank stance is off before I go back in first, of course. Leviathan disappears again. Keeping an eye on that geyser. Yep, same spot, and run to the opposite side. And whee! There we go. Run after the head and realize, oh, wait, the tail. Immediately go after that. Activate tank stance and start bashing it in. Not realizing at the time that our Dark Knight had the same idea again. No worries, they eventually go back after Leviathan's head. The Gyre Spumes show up again, and I decide, yeah, I'll let my allies deal with them. I'll stick to focusing on the tail, because I'm pretty sure they have it. This time, at least. Okay, tail disappears, as does Leviathan. And there's the barrier. Now I just need to wait for the attack. Here it comes. Much better this time. Okay, now where does he decide to show up? Oh, there's another geyser. Probably should avoid that. Okay, head again. I mean the tail again. By the time the health bar got to about 20%, I realized this tail is dropping pretty fast. 3%? 2%? 1%? And the tails, though, what? Turns out the entire time, I thought the tail had a separate health pool, so I was surprised that we actually beat Leviathan so easily. And now the deed is done. I do a little spin in place as a form of an emote of joy. I get showered by flower petals. And then I remember accommodations are a thing. The Dark Knight was the only one left, so I give it to them. And so at this point I realized, wait a minute, did we not get any loot for this? I realized how weird it is and then see that thing in the back and think, wait, is that the treasure chest? Nope. And so that was my first time fighting Leviathan. Pretty fun, not gonna lie, despite not knowing what to do at the time. Leave the instant to realize I got 4 combinations. I thought, awesome, I didn't think I'd ever got that many combinations at once before. After the fight and returning back to Limsa Lominsa, Merlwyb mentions that they've never had a stouter ally than me. I immediately retort, is that a short joke? She then muses on Mistbeard's solution and how useful he might have been under her service. Izar's expression there made me wonder if he might be related to Mistbeard in some way, if not a retired Mistbeard himself. Yugiri, having witnessed a primal firsthand, thinks that she might be useful in quelling primals in the future and offers to teach her combat arts to the citizens. On a tangent, Thancred mentions how his own combat style, similar to hers, is akin to that of a certain fraternity. And I find it funny how I know they're referring to the Rogues Guild since I was part of them, and yet they're still keeping it secret. Merlwyb then pledges that while she can't give the Doman refugees a home in Limsa Lominsa, she would gladly offer them provisions. Also, I get some durability drafts. Neat. Next, we go drop Yugiri off at the Rogues Guild, where she mentions potentially teaching me her techniques as well. And I was left wondering if that meant she becomes a ninja's mentor sometime in the future. I mean, it's possible, right? Back at Revenant's Toll, Minfilia ponders what happened to the Sahagan priest. How the power he gained was effectively the Echo, and despite being immortal, his soul was still consumed and destroyed by Leviathan. So she posits that if the Ascians could grant that power, they may function the same way, so it might be possible to destroy them as well. Such good news is unfortunately undermined by Urianger's arrival when he brings news that Sharlaea, the place that Minfilia has been trying and failing to contact, was destroyed by a power similar to that of Ul'dah. And if that wasn't enough, it seems unrest is beginning to fester in Ul'dah, and our friend Teleji is laying the groundwork for revolution. With that look, I don't think he's 100% on our side anymore. Then, something strange happens. I noticed 2 of the rewards for that quest, the Noct Ring and Gloam Ring accessories, seemingly meant for tanks and physical DPS respectively, had the exact same stats, and wondered if maybe it was a glitch, since the Aurora Ring doesn't. It most likely was, since other similar rewards I can get later on do have different stats. More problems arise when refugees from Thanalan, tired of living in fear of the upper class in Ul'dah, come seeking asylum in Mordona as well, just like the Domans did. Minfilia tells them how the Scions only helped the Domans due to extreme circumstances, and they're not equipped to provide aid for everyone, so unfortunately she has to turn them down. Worse still, a riot recently broke out in Ul'dah, apparently only meant to be a peaceful demonstration, and Alphinaud got caught up in it. Also, I completely forgot about the weapon coffer I obtained and received a dual Hakan from it. We'll definitely use this once I'm done spirit bonding with my current axe. While it does turn out Alphinaud is fine, he is worried about the current state of things in Ul'dah. General Roban is too busy keeping the populace in check, so it falls to us to find out who caused the riot. Clues lead us to the outskirts of Blackbrush, where we run into desperate refugees that were armed by a mysterious merchant, also talking about revolution. We eventually catch up with this merchant, only to find that he's only profiting from the chaos and is not actually the one that instigated anything. I make the dumb joke of, he's probably going to take an arrow to the knee, isn't he? Before... flip! No, it was to the chest. And the shooter's gone before we even get the chance to see them. So, that was basically what happened. Again, I was so mad that things turned out the way it did, but I couldn't just leave it as is and leave you guys confused, so I hope this does help. After this, should be back to regularly scheduled full stream archives. Until then, thank you for watching, and have a good night.